Hey to everyone out there, and welcome to Innx, the Exchange, our very first vlog from the Innx studio. So thank you for joining us. I know we've had a couple of false starts in the last week, so apologies to those that were super pumped about joining us for this conversation. But here we go, we're off and started. So basically, the format is that we will get into some curly questions, some fun and interesting questions over the next few weeks with some of our locals, businesses, and neighbours around the area, let's say, and then the beautiful and wonderful and intellectually marvelous Ruth will be also co-hosting with me as we explore some of these questions. Ruth's just having a heart attack right now out in the studio, but I feel like I should probably jump straight across to Ruth now and get her on here. So, sorry, before I do that though, we will be keeping our social distancing today. So there'll be 3 of us streaming today. I'm down here in my little dark room in Innx. Those that know the building know that I'm way back at the back in room number 11. Luke will be joining us in the meeting room, and Ruth is in our new vlogging studio. So I'm going to get those guys on board right now. Are you guys ready? Where are you hiding?
Yep.
Hello. Say hello to everyone. There we go. We're all good. I don't know if we're in sync, but we're going to give it a shot. So as I said, we're really hoping to be able to share lots of insights into business, into life, and how we're all going through these very interesting times that we're discovering and coping with. So, Ruth, you're going to quiz us today. I don't know if she could even hear us, but Ruth's got some questions to get us started, and we'd love to hear from some of you guys that are watching. We know that there's probably a bunch of questions, thoughts, ideas out there as well. So if you're watching, please let us know. Give us a thumbs up or put some questions out there. Let us know that this is all working well and you can hear us. So, Ruth, what curliness can you start us off with?
Oh, it's kind of weird when you're interviewing the team that you're a part of. But I do have some questions for you guys. I guess we want to familiarize everybody with what it is Innx actually is for those that are tuning in for the first time. So tell us a bit more about what Innx is and what your vision is.
Luke, I reckon we should start with you. We haven't heard from you yet. What is Innx?
Yeah, okay. I'll jump in there. So Shane and I started Innx. I can't even remember how long ago now. Was it 7 years ago? 6? Something like that, Shane?
2012.
But I would say the idea goes right back to early days of when we started in business together, and always wanting a community around us of people that thought like us and pushed like us and wanted to create things like us. So yeah, the idea goes way back. We didn't know what it looked like, and one day all of a sudden it just happened. We found this space and we needed a bit more space and for ourselves, and yeah, we found a warehouse, and without too much thought, we dived into it.
It was kind of a solution.
Can you tell us a bit more about what this space is actually being used for?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, just going right back to what Luke was saying, we were facing a problem in our business at the time. We were located down on Hunter Street in what's known as Innx Building Number 2. We'd started off there and we'd actually outgrown the space and were looking for a larger space to move into. We were also at the time hosting the Hunter Design School within our space. They were also looking because they were growing. And so that's kind of what spawned the journey initially, was literally just business growth. And after looking at a number of properties around Newcastle and assessing and just seeing where was going to be the best place to move, these warehouses were available. And they were used at the time for storing cars. If anyone remembers the old auction yards. What were they called? I can't even remember what they were actually called. Gamers auctions, yeah. So all the oldies out there would remember that. And so yeah, these warehouses were literally just empty sheds with a bunch load of oil stains in the concrete and absolutely empty. So so that was kind of it. But I think in the heart of Luke and I, all the way through, and just with business, has always been around collaboration, about community, working with people around us. And so it was sort of like a perfect intersection of, you know, all of that sort of stuff. It's like all of a sudden we've got a space that's actually too big for us alone. And so we were able to build a really creative, inspiring space that we wanted to work in, and invite other business and people to join in with us. So it was kind of cool. Luke, you were mostly the design brains behind it. What was your sort of thinking, motivation / excitement with Innx and this thing coming together?
Yeah, when we started, the only requirement was we had to have a shipping container, because that was the cool thing. So that's where we started, and the design went through lots of different phases, that most of which the council didn't appreciate most of our creativity, but we were still able to keep much of it. So I like what we've come up with, because we didn't go around to other co-working spaces and see how they were supposed to be done. We sort of just created what we thought we needed and what we thought was a good idea at the time. And the solution is, I've never seen anything like it since. It's not just a big open space crammed with desks. It has micro communities. So yeah, it's something a bit different, and I think it's come out of just doing an idea and not being limited by how things should be done or have been done in the past, which goes back to really some of the core values in what we believe in, just doing things the way that you think they should be done and not the way they've always been done. And that's how we've ended up with the way that things are. So, yeah.
And that kind of speaks to, I guess, what we're currently facing in the world, in Newcastle, in Australia, and in businesses, that there is a challenge, I guess, to do things in a new, innovative way. And I was kind of wondering for you guys, I personally know this, or I've been journeying along with you, but for those that are listening, what would you say is some ways in which Innx is having to pivot and change the way you approach
you can use the word
co-working spaces? Pivot.
It's the chance to use this word. We're going to hear a lot about that. Luke, did you want to say something first?
No, go for it, Shane.
Well, it's, I guess from my perspective, it's been really interesting as well to watch. And I guess even now looking back and observing even responses in governments and other businesses and stuff like that, it was kind of like this, you know, this coronavirus thing was kind of slowly happening and we were aware of it, but weren't sure of the impact. And then, you know, more and more it was creeping up, and you just go, oh my goodness. It's like that wave when you're out surfing. You can kind of just see this wave building and building, and then all of a sudden it just like pops up, and it's like, oh my goodness. So it was kind of a situation like that. But I guess for Innx, specifically being a co-working space and being a community space, it was it was an interesting kind of time for us to go through and to get our heads around, you know, what is the safest and the best thing for us to do. Obviously, we want to we want to follow the government's guidelines. We want to make sure that everyone's being healthy and safe. We don't, you know, want people getting sick or contracting the virus by working through here. So that being our number one thing, but then also realizing that for some people, they had to work from here. Working from home wasn't necessarily an option. And so kind of just trying to balance all that sort of stuff up and be able to support businesses through it. So that being our second sort of key goal through the whole thing is just to make sure that whatever we're doing as a community, that we can still serve businesses, because that's our primary role, you know. So pre-corona, we're serving by providing inspiring spaces to work from, by providing, you know, our meeting rooms, our hot desks, you know, all these basic services that we have in here. Now post-corona, it's changed a little bit. So this vlogging studio was one of those changes that we introduced, and we began setting up almost immediately, because we realized that for the businesses within our space and businesses further afield, it's really important to continue communicating with clients, with the community at large, because our businesses have to continue running. And just because we're working from home or working from an office, it's still important to do. And being Innx, we want to do that at the best possible way, in the you know, most professional way we could. So we pooled our resources and got a bunch of stuff from around the place, some lights, some screens, some cameras, microphones, and put together a beautiful studio. So that was one thing that we quickly pivoted on. And I guess too, even like considering workspaces and things like that, looking at how we can streamline some of that sort of stuff and make it really safe. So in addition to having sanitizer every 2 meters around the building and having access to clean working spaces, also being able to limit the number of people in the building by having, you know, meeting spaces for one that are still connected to all of the, you know, the same services and utilities that you would need to use in a meeting, whiteboards, screens, stuff like that. But we kind of did the maths as well, and we figured out that even if we had 20 people in our building, there'd be a 50 square meter safety sort of exclusion zone around them. So social distancing is not a problem in this massive workspace. So, you know, it's been cool. There's been, you know, a few people needing to escape the children just for a couple of hours so they can get a really important meeting done, or just, you know, smash out some reports or writing and things like that. So they're kind of sneaking in here and getting some stuff done and then getting out. So I guess, you know, was that short or long? I was going to say in a really short kind of answer, that's the initial things that we've been doing here is with the Innx team to continue serving.
Yeah, and I guess you know, you've mentioned that one thing that we're trying to do is to serve the locals here and ensure, I guess, their physical safety in terms of what's going on around the world and what's going around locally, but also just ensuring that they have that sense of mental well-being in the midst of everything that's happening. And so one thing I've noticed that you guys have done quite well is continue to openly communicate with the locals here, with your team, with myself. And I really just want to, I guess, affirm you guys for doing that, because you haven't just simply said, oh, this is, you know, this is what we're doing, but you've actually checked in and ensured that every single local feels as though they've been heard or that their concerns have been addressed as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. Are there any questions?
Yeah, so
coming
I
from,
just had, where are we?
Yeah.
Just had a couple of questions. So, what do you think this vlog is going to achieve for locals specifically?
Luke?
Yeah, well, I just hope that it becomes a platform that they can use and take advantage of to tell their story, communicate how they're pivoting, and hopefully, like, we can all learn something from it and learn more about the people who are around us every day and how we can engage with them and support them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's definitely like the best we
Nice,
could
concise
hope
response.
for in amongst this, and making it really simple for businesses and business owners, business workers who may find it sometimes challenging. I mean, I find it challenging jumping on a vlog like this as well, and make it a really simple process for them to be able to engage with this kind of technology, to be able to get the word out there and try and use this time to build their business. I guess I really see it as a really positive time, that this period, although it's challenging, that if we can keep a really positive mindset and see the opportunities within it, that we should try and grab hold of that with both hands. And so if this is just an amazing platform to be able to speak out and to contact and communicate with people abroad. So that's it.
And in terms of, give us an example, or I guess a bit of a sneak peek of some of the people that you're really looking forward to showcasing here on the vlog from our local space.
Well, there's some amazing businesses in here, and already Laura from Lala Social Club did a vlog a week or two ago, which was amazing, just connecting with businesses and speaking straight into what they can be doing and encouraging them as well. So that's online, and you can go to Lala Social Club and see that vlog and pick up on that. But we've also got coming up some conversations with accountant. So get all your questions ready for him, because he'll be able to speak into or give some answers and thoughts and ideas around how you can access all of the incentives that government's been able to offer. Personal trainers. I think there's a few engineers that I'd love to get on here and hear from them. We have audio post-production. We've got music production. So we also hosted Matt McLaren a week or so ago. He did a live concert one night from here, which was amazing. It was so good. I've actually never seen Matt in full action before, so it was so cool to see him doing his thing. So, a whole bunch of different people, different industries, lots of different perspectives. I think there's some tourism guys floating around that we'll try and rope in, and anyone else. So even the guys from Sherwood, I don't know if I've spoken to you yet, Dan, but be ready. We will come knocking on your door, and just hearing how even those guys have really changed their business to continue being really strong through this period. And it'd be cool to hear, what he's thinking and his strategies have been behind that.
Yeah. And I think we can all learn something from people outside of our industry or where we'd typically go look.
So we've got a question.
And think about things differently. Sorry.
Yeah.
Delay.
No, Luke, you're spot on as well. Where I think what I can see you guys doing is expanding it to not just locals in a very literal sense, and we actually identify as anybody who occupies this space as being local, but the businesses that we support, as you said, and the people that we interact with day to day, especially in this Newcastle West and CBD, but also as well, I think families are quite important. So my question for you guys personally is, how are you finding that this shift that's happening is, bringing some positive change to your family and business balance that you have in life?
Yeah, well, I've been working a few days at home, and it's my kids love to watch me work and get in on any Zoom call I might be doing, which is always lots of fun, and show their creativity to my clients. As long as they don't show me up, it's okay. But no, it's been really cool. My kids have always wondered what I actually do, and I don't know if they quite understand it yet. They just think I talk to people on videos all day. So yeah, it's nice being at home. It is challenging, and I'm keen to learn from it. but I also like coming into the office still. But it it challenges the norms of how we separate life and work and family and work and all those sort of things. It's integrating and bringing it back together and bringing to light the impact of actually being away from the office 9 to 5 or 8 till 6 or whatever it actually is that I'm away. So bringing it to light and challenging some of those things, not just for me, but the impact it also has on my team. So yeah, I like being challenged. So we'll see what comes out of that. I think if we go back to just business as normal, how we've always known it after all this, I think we've missed the opportunity.
Yeah. I think for
Did that
for
answer
me,
the question?
yeah, it was a good answer.
Yeah.
I think for me, I was saying to someone just, probably more than just to somebody, but how this period of time has been very exciting, and I don't remember. It's been a while since being in business has been this exciting. Things kind of do after a while. This is our 21st year of business, which is a long time, and things kind of just roll along, and that's cool. But this kind of shift that was just forced on all of us has, I guess in some ways forced us all to think so much more quickly and differently, and to respond positively, and to, brought so much opportunity, I guess, in that way. And so that's really exciting. I think it really helps when we've got an incredible government like we have, that have been able to support businesses and employees and workers the way that they have. I'm sure without that support, it would be a very different scenario, because we would have been forced to make some very difficult decisions. But in light of that, I think it almost gives us, we need to respond well. We need to make the most of this, and we need to come out of it strong, and not just sit back and relax, or kind of, I don't know, just give up on things, but actually push forward and look for, how can we change the business? How can we grow the business? How can we use this time to do all of the things in our business that we keep putting off, that will help us grow and help us, move into the places that we really want to. To go back to the passions of why we're even in business to start with, and go, this is an opportunity and a time to rebirth, or to reignite some of those passions. So for me, that's probably how I've approached it. As far as family's concerned, I haven't unfortunately been able to spend a huge amount of time working from home, because my work requires me to work in a cinema, and I don't have a cinema at home. So I've had to keep coming in here, and I've missed out on some of that. But we have had a few days at home with the girls, building and doing gardening, and just they've loved it so much, and sort of doing some school together, and yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, perhaps with all the space that we currently have here, we could set up a house for you so your family can be around, so you know what it's like to work from home in the way that Luke does. I was going to just kind of ask a question that, so Carl has put this up on Innx, and I think it's really valid, and it's the point that you guys make. It's that statement, in the face of the unknown, you have to rise above the known. And you've kind of touched on that. But in what ways, holistically, do you think, business aside, family aside, putting everything together, how do you feel as though you guys are rising, above the known, as you said?
Luke?
I think I'm not sure yet, but I think being open to change and embracing it. I think we won't know what we've what's the impact of all of that until after the fact. I think when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to actually see things for what they are. But I think being open to, how things are. So rising above the known is business as usual. You know, I used to think that everyone had to be in the same office together at all times, and that was the only way we could collaborate. And that whole idea is being challenged at the moment. Something I was always a little bit afraid of and didn't think was really possible has now been proven is possible. I still think there's value in being together. So yeah, my known was that's the only way to do creative work, but rising above that and actually seeing opportunities to work remotely or engage people remotely who you might not have had access to before opens the doors to new opportunities. But I wouldn't say that I know the full impact until all of this is over and we actually see, okay, those things actually changed. I didn't realize that happened. Those mindsets. Yeah.
I think it's what's really interesting, those words we have used for Innx, and with, you know, they were plastered on the homepage of our website for, you know, the last 5 years or so, how in a way they're prophetic words for this time, that they are the words from Innx to our community, and it's what we stand on, and it's what keeps us from keeping a perspective that goes beyond the circumstances that are around us. And so even you know, the known is, you know, business as usual, but even now in this context, the known is all of the struggles or all of the potential hardships, or, you know, all of these, you know, things falling apart around us, you know, to rise above that, to be a community that encourages each other, that empowers each other, that you know, links arms and helps each other. And you see that already, like all around the world, where people, you know, individuals and even companies are banding together to help their clients and the people around them to continue to grow and to operate and to function and be able to sort of achieve what they're there for. And I think, you know, together we rise above what is known and lose ourselves in the unknown. Together we have the means and the courage to seek the new, and fate rewards the fearless. They were the lines that we had written. And I think more than ever, they're the truths that we can live by and kind of really encourage ourselves and strengthen ourselves through this period with.
Yeah, and I think you've touched on a point. You said it was almost prophetic, which take that to mean what you will, depending on who you are. But what I find valuable about that statement is that you had established yourself early on as people who would live to that vision or strive for that purpose. And it's interesting in times like these, in crises, it's universally known or experienced that they often show what we're made of. You know, when you put you know, clay in a fire, it hardens, but if you put something else in a fire, wood, it burns, you know. And so this is a time for all of us, I would say, as we're wrapping up now, to encourage one another and encourage people, as you guys are doing, to really focus on how we can build ourselves as individuals who can actually then rise above the known as well. We're wrapping up, guys. So Shane, do you want to sign off for us?
I can sign off and get you guys off the screen. But thank you all for joining us today for our very first Innx exchange/vlog. It's been wonderful to have you join us, and please be prepared. Over the coming days, we'll start announcing a lineup of additional people. If you're interested in also sharing and speaking, then please contact Ruth at work@innx.com.au, and let's have a conversation. But that is it from us for now, and we will catch you soon. See you later.